Stop, don't scroll. There is a word that has been prepared for your house and it has a date on it, this Tuesday. If you have felt like your entire year has been a long, drawn-out Monday, it is because heaven has marked this specific Tuesday on your calendar to change the rhythm of your days. You are not here by accident. You are here because of a specific kind of exhaustion, a physical heaviness in your body, chronic fatigue that sleep does not solve. You wake up more tired than when you went to bed because your soul has been on watch all night, waiting for a command that has not yet been spoken. You are here because of a paralysis in your decisions. Big and small choices have become monumental, carrying a weight they should not have. The fear that any choice you make will be the wrong one has led you to make no choice at all, leaving you stuck in a season that should have ended months ago. And you are here because of the silent disconnect in your own home. You are physically present with your family, but emotionally and spiritually, you are in a different time zone. You hear their laughter, their plans for the future, and it sounds like beautiful music coming from a room that you are locked out of. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, I will describe exactly where you have been standing, on a calendar page that has been stuck for months, while the enemy of your timeline whispers that this is all there is. Second, I'm going to deliver to you 3 words from the original Hebrew, and when you hear the last of them, you will understand precisely why you were led to this video at this exact moment. And third, I will seal 3 new names of identity over you. If you leave this video before the end, you leave without the seal. And there is a 4th thing I will be placing in your hands before this message ends. Something Solomon himself recorded for the child of God who needs to cross through a season of unbearable waiting, and that fits into an ordinary Tuesday. This is not a book to be studied. It is an instrument to bear the weight of a promise that feels too heavy to carry alone. I will come back to it. For now, stay. You have been waiting for a new season but living in the memory of the last one, and this spiritual jet lag is the source of the exhaustion that has been weighing on you. Before I can deliver the word that God has for this Tuesday, you need to understand the terrain you are standing on. And on that very subject, on the calendar page that feels stuck, on the music you can't quite reach, on the heavy coat you can't take off, there is something King Solomon left behind, a 2-minute key that fits into your ordinary day. Tuck it away in the back of your mind, and if you need to leave before the end of this video, that instrument is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment right down below. But I ask you to stay until the end, because without the context that is coming now, the key will not have the same strength in your hand. Have you ever felt that your spiritual exhaustion, this spiritual jet lag, is not just human, but a targeted spiritual attack? And what if this pattern of being out of sync is a sign that there is a battle being waged against the purpose God has placed on your life? While many try to explain this away as burnout or a lack of discipline, few realize that the thief of appointed times doesn't attack what you have done, but what God is about to build through you. But what if the true reason for this delay is found in the very thing you haven't yet been able to see about your own calling? Now think with me. What if everything you have walked through until today, the stuck calendar page, the locked door, the heavy coat, is the answer to the one question you have carried for years? God, when is it my time? It was searching for answers to that very question that I found this digital guide called The Code of Solomon's Wisdom. This guide is not just a reading, it is a key for spiritual understanding, a tool made for those who wish to see beyond appearances, to stop treating divine delay as divine denial, and to understand why the thief of appointed times attacks with such force against those who carry a mark of God. Several chosen ones here on the channel have already felt the call of this instrument, but have not yet made the decision to download the digital guide. Download it right now. It's available in the first pinned comment. If you are one of the first to download it, come back here and write, Amen. This will be your act of faith, and today, God may show you the very reason why the petrification of your hope has risen up against your life. Before I give you the word for this Tuesday, I need you to recognize 5 signs that are happening in your life right now. These are not predictions. They are recognitions. If at least 3 of these are true for you, then we will both know why you were brought here today. The first is the sign of the repeated lesson. You find yourself facing the exact same type of trial or decision you thought you had overcome years ago. It feels like a loop, a cycle you cannot break. But you are not being punished. You are being shown the root of the issue that you missed the first time around. I decree this loop is not a prison, but a final exam, and this time you pass. The second is the sign of physical heaviness. You carry a fatigue in your bones that sleep doesn't touch, a weight that feels both physical and spiritual. Your body is processing a battle that your mind cannot yet see. This is not just exhaustion, it is the weight of the coming glory. I decree that this heaviness is not unto death, but is the pressure that forms a diamond out of your spirit. Your strength is about to be renewed in a way you did not think was possible. The third is the sign of the unknowing prophet. You are at the dinner table, in a car ride, or on a casual phone call, and a family member, your spouse, your child, your sibling, says something out of the blue. Something like, "It feels like this year hasn't really started yet," or "I feel like we're all just waiting for something." They have no idea they are prophesying over your house. They are simply speaking the spiritual truth of your season. This is heaven using the ones closest to you to confirm what your spirit already knows. I decree this echo is your confirmation. And concerning that specific feeling at the dinner table, that strange, sad echo from your own family, about time being frozen, I have already left the instrument waiting for you in the first pinned comment. If you need to leave before the end, it is there. But stay, because the Hebrew name for what is happening to you has not yet been spoken. And before I move on to the fourth and fifth sign, a brief pause. And beyond our digital book, Chosen One, you have here another way to strengthen this message that reached your home today, and to make it reach more and more chosen ones like you. We don't receive a single cent for every word I deliver to you here on this channel every day. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we keep a voluntary donation link open right below the digital book in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits your hand today, any sum your heart points to, that's what keeps our channel standing. That's what makes the next message reach another person who needs it, exactly as you needed it. I'll wait for you there, Chosen One. Returning now to the fourth sign. The fourth is the sign of unseasonable emotion. You find yourself weeping at a moment of small beauty, or feeling a surge of anger at a minor inconvenience. Your emotions are out of sync with your circumstances because your spirit is already living in a different season than your body is. Your soul is tasting the rain of a breakthrough that has not yet fallen on your physical life. I decree this emotional turbulence is not instability. It is the sign of a profound spiritual transition. The fifth is the sign of the almost miracle. In the last few months, you have seen a door open almost all the way, a promise almost come to pass, a healing almost complete, only for it to stop just short of the finish line. This is not a sign of God's failure or his denial. It is the enemy showing his hand. He is revealing exactly where he is terrified you will advance. He is putting up a fight at the very gate he knows you are about to break through. I decree that where the enemy placed a comma, God is writing the final definitive sentence. These 5 signs that you have just recognized in your own life are not symptoms of a spiritual collapse. They are the contractions before a birth. They are signs of a great awakening. And the name for what is awakening in you is contained in a single word from the original Hebrew. Before I show you the instrument that Solomon left for the ordinary day, I need to give you the Hebrew name for what you carry. Because the instrument only makes sense after you know the name. And there is a word in Hebrew that defines this exact state you are living in, a word that recontextualizes everything I have just described in the last few minutes. There is one word in the original Hebrew that changes everything you thought you knew, and what comes now will explain why everything happened in this exact order. And to carry that weight alone, to bear the name of what is happening to you without the instrument to respond to it, is not what Solomon prepared for you. He prepared something else, an instrument of protection, and that is what I am going to deliver to you now. It is not theory, it is a tool. The Code of Solomon's Wisdom is the instrument that Solomon left for the child of God who needs to cross through the ordinary day without losing what was received in the secret place. When you keep trying to solve a spiritual timing problem with human effort, like trying to force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. You are not just tired. You need the code. When you walk into your own home and it feels like a waiting room, not a sanctuary, your spirit is not just unsettled, it needs the code. When you say yes to every demand on your time because you're terrified of missing God's will, but this lack of discernment is the very thing keeping you from being ready for His appointed time, you do not just need rest, you need the code. And if you're feeling right now that this is exactly what you need, before I even continue, place your thumb now over the link in the first pinned comment. Don't click yet, just place your thumb. Feel the weight of the decision before you make the decision. This is not a method to do more. It is an instrument to sustain more. It does not train you. It covers you. It shows you where this spiritual jet lag is acting before it turns into a wrong decision, a harsh word, a missed opportunity. It interrupts the cycle of being out of sync before it becomes the rhythm of your next Tuesday. And the next Tuesday arrives sooner than it seems, and it comes with two seals for your home, not for your performance. The first seal is the ritual of the righteous sleep. It's an audio. You don't read it. You lie down. And what you used to call insomnia, today you'll call per unsealed vigil. And you'll learn to seal the night with the right name, in the right order, in the right voice. The second seal is the awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees. 7 short phrases, one for each morning of the week. So you don't wake up again without identity. So you cross the first hour of the day with the posture of one who has been sent, and not with the posture of one who has been run over. And this hesitation you are feeling right now, it is not doubt. It is the spiritual jet lag acting inside of you at this very moment, the thief of appointed times pushing you to close this window, to put it off, to decide later. You recognize this pattern, the moment it's time to pray and a sudden weariness comes over you. The moment it's time to open the Word and the phone rings with a distraction. The hesitation you feel now is the final confirmation that you are standing exactly at the point where the turn happens, and that is precisely why what I'm about to say exists. You have 7 full days to use it and feel it, 7 days. If in 7 days the instrument has not touched what needs to be touched in you, you return it. No questions asked. No justification needed. And the 2 seals, the ritual and the decrees, remain with you even if you return the guide. They are yours, unconditionally. But I must be direct with you. The real risk is not spending less than a Thursday lunch at the deli. The real risk is the next Tuesday morning arriving, and you are still standing empty-handed. That is the risk that has a face, and it is this face that I need to talk to you about now. And perhaps you're asking yourself a few questions right now, questions that deserve an answer before we go on. But what if this is just another spiritual high that fades by morning? This is not a message, it is a mechanism. It is designed for the morning after, for the moment the emotion fades and the discipline needs to begin. It works not because of how you feel, but because of what has been written. But how do I know this word is really for me and not just a general message? You know because of the 5 signs. You know because of the echo in your own home. You know because of the ache in your own body. This was never a general message. It was a targeted delivery with your name on it. But what if I don't have the strength to follow through on what this word demands? The guide was not created for those who have strength. It was created for those who need it. It is an instrument of transference. You do not carry its weight, it carries yours. And still, if you only want the guide, it is enough. But the complete home is built with all 3. A woman of 38, a self-employed professional, started using the guide after months of feeling that heavy, soaked winter coat in the middle of spring. The exhaustion was constant. In the first week of applying the instrument, she told me she finally took the coat off. She wrote me just 1 sentence. I thought it was burnout, it was actually a battle. A senior executive, a woman of 56, was facing a major corporate decision she had been delaying for months, feeling she was perpetually standing before a locked door. After applying the key from the guide for 7 days, she convened the meeting that changed the course of her department. The sentence she sent me was, "I stopped looking for the right key and realized I needed to change the lock." A grandmother of 61, who felt the music of her own home was something she could hear but not participate in, felt a profound disconnect from her grandchildren. In her second week with the guide, she sat with her grandson not to talk but just to be present, and for the first time, she felt the rhythm of the house match the rhythm of her heart. She wrote, "I thought my home was quiet, but it was just out of tune. Perhaps in 3 hours you will be lying in bed again, feeling the weight of that same heavy coat, remembering that you saw this video and still did not reach out your hand. Perhaps next Tuesday, the spiritual jet lag will hit and you will think, I knew what it was, I just didn't have the instrument in my hand. You remember that specific date in the past when you expected a breakthrough that never came. You remember the face of that well-meaning friend who told you to be more realistic. You feel the physical ache in your shoulders right now, the literal weight of carrying those old hopes. And so the slow petrification of your hope continues arriving, with the same alarm clock, with the same coffee, with the same door opening on the next Tuesday morning. The link is in the first pinned comment pinned for you. Not for everyone, for you. Whoever needs to cross the next Tuesday with the instrument in their hand, clicks now. And when you do this, when you open that link, you are not buying a book. You are accepting an instrument that Solomon prepared for your ordinary day. And what you are about to understand, when you hear the Hebrew word that comes now, will change how you read everything that has happened to you until today. And before I deliver the next word that's still coming now, because it's still coming, and it weighs, I want to remind you of one thing, chosen one. As I told you earlier, beyond the digital book that's in the first pinned comment, there's that voluntary donation link open, right below the book. We continue receiving not a single cent for every word I deliver here for you every day. That's why this link exists, chosen one, so that another person tomorrow finds exactly this word that found you today. Any amount your heart points to. Each gesture like that keeps our channel standing and makes the next message reach whoever needs it, exactly as it reached you today. And one more thing before we return to the message, I want you to know the following. From time to time here on our channel, I record a special honor video. A thank you video with a special word only to recognize the chosen ones who donated the most and those who acquired the digital book. All who sustained this word with me deserve that mention of gratitude for such a generous act. You sow here, heaven remembers you up there, and I remember you down here. I'll wait for you there at the link, again chosen one. And now finally the Hebrew word that will change everything. The Hebrew word that defines exactly what is happening with you, this sense of divine appointment on an ordinary Tuesday, is Mo-Edi. Pronounce it with me, Mo-Ed. Mo-Edi. It means an appointed time, a fixed, sacred appointment in God's calendar. It is not just a word for a future event. It is a word that describes a state of being, a posture of readiness for a divine intervention that is already written on heaven's schedule. And when you hear this word, your spirit recognizes it because it has been living in a state of Mo-Ed for months. You just didn't have the name for it. And about this word it is written in Psalm 4 verse 8, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. This is not a promise for the future. It is a declaration of a present state. The one who can say this sentence and feel it in their bones is the one who understands their Mo-Ed. It is not peace that comes from striving or from finally figuring things out. It is the peace that comes from knowing you are aligned with God's appointed time, even if the world around you is in chaos. This is the state that Gideon almost missed. We see Gideon not on a throne, but at a winepress, threshing wheat in secret. He was a man living out of season, hiding in a place of crushing when he was called to a place of leading. His fear was not of the enemy, but of the timing. Is now the time, God? Are you sure it's me? His problem was your problem. The spiritual jet lag was so profound that even when the angel of the Lord called him a mighty man of valor, his response was to point to all the evidence of God's absence. He was trying to solve a divine timing problem with human logic, and so he asked for a sign. He needed an instrument to confirm that his Mo-Ed had arrived. God did not rebuke him for this. He met him there. The wet and dry fleece was not a sign of Gideon's lack of faith. It was a desperate, improvised instrument to confirm God's appointed time. It was the best he could do with what he had. So he performed the operation on an ordinary day. He took a fleece, a simple piece of wool, and laid it on the threshing floor. A small physical act to anchor a monumental spiritual question. He was asking the universe to bend to his need for confirmation, to prove that this wasn't another false start. And when the sign came, when the fleece was soaked with dew and the ground was dry, and then again when the fleece was dry and the ground was soaked, the cycle of doubt was broken. The paralysis of decision lifted. The next step, to lead a tiny army against an overwhelming force, came not from a place of human courage, but from the certainty of his Moed. And what Gideon had to improvise, you have been given as an inheritance. He had to invent a tool on the spot. But the instrument that Solomon recorded in his wisdom, the Code of Solomon's Wisdom, is the very same principle, prepared for you so you don't have to rely on a fleece of hope. It is an instrument of alignment, waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Remember the spiritual jet lag I mentioned at the beginning of this video? That feeling of wearing a heavy winter coat in the middle of spring? Moed is the name of the new season. The instrument Solomon left is how you take off the old coat and align your body with the new temperature of your spirit. And now that you have the name for your appointed time, I need to deliver 3 more things to you. First, a simple summary of everything you've heard so far, so it anchors deep in your spirit. Second, a diagnosis for your specific type of calling. And third, 3 new names of identity that will carry you through the rest of this year. Let's begin. Let me stop for a full minute and put everything you just heard in simple words. No poetry, no metaphor, just the facts. Fact 1. There is a spirit called the Thief of Appointed Times, whose entire mission is to make you feel like God is late. Fact 2. He does this by attacking your belief in your personal mode, your divine appointment. Fact 3. Gideon was almost consumed by this very thing, hiding in a wine press when he should have been on a battlefield. Fact 4. Your own prudence, your desire to not get your hopes up again, can become the very reason you miss the Tuesday God has set aside for you. Now, with that said, let's move on to the type of your calling. There are 3 types of calling that are being tested right now by this thief of appointed times. Each one receives a specific kind of attack. You are one of these types, and when I name yours, you will recognize it instantly. The first is the cycle breaker. You are the one called to end generational patterns of delay, of poverty, of sickness, of brokenness. The enemy knows that your breakthrough is not just for you, it is for a whole bloodline. And so he attacks you with monotony, with the feeling that nothing ever changes, trapping you in a spiritual Groundhog Day, so you will accept the cycle as your destiny. The second is the generational anchor. You are the one called to be the foundation for your family's future, the one whose stability becomes the launchpad for your children and your children's children. And so the enemy attacks you with the memory of your family's past failures. He whispers that you are destined to repeat them, that the same flaws that brought down your parents will bring you down too. He attacks your future by binding you to your past. The third is the Waymaker. You are the one called to create paths where there are none, to innovate, to build businesses, ministries, and solutions that do not yet exist. The enemy cannot fight what God is about to create through you, so he attacks your ability to start. He floods you with a fog of overwhelming confusion, a paralysis of too many options and no clear direction, so that you never lay the first stone. And about your specific type, heaven has already sealed 3 names over you, 3 names that will carry you through the end of this year, giving shape to your identity when the enemy tries to dissolve you back into the old cycle. The first name is Sentinel of the Appointed Time. A sentinel does not wander. A sentinel stands guard at a specific post for a specific hour. You are the one who stands guard over the mode of your own life. You are the one who refuses to abandon your post, even when the night is long and the silence is deep. You are the sentinel who knows that the dawn is not a hope, but an appointment. This is the name that anchors you to your divine schedule. The second name is Author of the New Season. An author does not merely read the story, they write it. You are not a passive observer of your own life, waiting to see what happens next. God is giving you the pen. You are the one who declares that the long Monday is over and that Tuesday has begun. You are the author who writes the first sentence of the new chapter, even while standing in the last paragraph of the old one. The third name is Ambassador of the Coming Year. An ambassador does not speak on their own authority. They represent a kingdom. You are being sent out from this moment, not as a private citizen of your own life, but as a representative of what God is doing in the coming year. Your words carry the weight of His government. Your decisions carry the authority of His coming season. You are the ambassador who brings the culture of heaven into the territory of your Tuesday. If one of these three names hit you harder, write the number below. 1, 2, or 3. You are feeling the intensity of what is happening right now. That tightness in your chest when I mentioned your calling, that heat that rose in you when I spoke the third name. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. This is a sign of the capacity you have to be transformed. The intensity of the attack is proportional to the magnitude of your breakthrough. A small battle means a small victory. A fierce battle means a history-making victory. And the vulnerability of the sentinel of the appointed time is the temptation to believe the watch is over, that you misheard the command, that the appointed time has passed and you must now settle for a lesser destiny. It is the temptation to abandon your post minutes before the king arrives. And what Solomon left for you to cover this vulnerability is not another book for you to study. It is an applied ritual. It is a spiritual technology. The Code of Solomon's Wisdom is the instrument that reinforces your post when your human strength runs out. It contains the ritual of sleep, so the enemy cannot sow doubt in your dreams, and the decrees of the morning, so you wake up already wearing your authority. The link to the guide is in the first pinned comment. When you go there, you are not just getting information. You are arming the sentinel. You are equipping the author. You are commissioning the ambassador. Do not let your mode find you with empty hands. And there are 3 weapons you must receive before I send you out from this place. But before I can send you out, there are 3 specific tactics the adversary will use against the 3 names you have just received. He will not attack you head-on. He will use whispers. He will use your own logic against you. Know his tactics and they lose their power. First is the tactic of time comparison. Wa. He will make you look at other people's harvest time and question your own seed time. He will show you the highlight reel of someone else's breakthrough and contrast it with the daily grind of your own waiting. This is designed to make you, the sentinel of the appointed time, abandon your post because you believe the parade has already passed you by. Second is the tactic of silence interpretation. He will take the sacred silence between your yes and God's now, and he will fill it with the narrative of rejection. He will whisper that God's strategic quiet is a sign of his absence, that your prayers have hit a ceiling of brass. This is designed to make you, the author of the new season, put down your pen because you believe the story has been cancelled. And third is the tactic of 24-hour fatigue. He will sense the imminent arrival of your mode, and in the final 24 hours before the breakthrough, he will flood you with an overwhelming, bone-deep weariness. He will make you too tired to show up for your own miracle, too exhausted to receive the answer you've been praying for. This is designed to make you, the ambassador of the coming year, miss your commissioning because you were too tired to get out of bed. But for each of these tactics, heaven has provided a corresponding weapon. Against the tactic of time comparison, you have the weapon of the sealed calendar. This is the profound, unshakable understanding that your timeline is a private appointment with God, not a public race. It is not subject to peer review. Your declaration is, "My time is sealed in heaven. I will not be rushed by the clocks of men." Against the tactic of silence interpretation, you have the weapon of the patient anchor. This is the ability to understand that God's silence is not absence, but the sound of him working behind the scenes. It is the peace of knowing the stage is being set, even if the curtain has not yet risen. Your declaration is, "The silence is the sound of his strategy." I will not mistake preparation for neglect. And against the tactic of 24-hour fatigue, you have the weapon of the second wind. This is the divine ability to draw strength not from your past performance, but from your future promise. It is the spiritual adrenaline that kicks in when your human energy runs out, fueled by the certainty that the dawn is not just possible, but scheduled. Your declaration is, "My strength is not my own. My energy is tethered to the coming dawn." And these three weapons by themselves are a memory. With an instrument they become a covering. Recognizing the cycle of your spiritual jet lag without having the instrument that Solomon left is receiving the diagnosis without the treatment. It's waking up to the problem without the remedy on your nightstand. And there is more. There are the 4 more rhythms of heaven beyond these that I cannot open here, not for lack of time. For density, each needs its own page with the precise counter-weapon. And while I cannot deliver these 4 here, the thief of appointed times knows them all. The guide delivers them. When you feel the urge to check the calendar as if to prove to yourself that time is, in fact, passing. When a conversation with a loved one ends with that familiar feeling of being misunderstood, as if you're speaking from a different season. When you look at your own hands and they feel incapable of building the future God promised. That is the moment to reach for the instrument. Recognition without the instrument leaves you where you have always been, knowing the name, but with an empty hand. And that is why there is one final obstacle that must be named before you can say Amen. It is the most subtle and the most dangerous. It is the voice of your own piety, the fear of seeming ungrateful. You hesitate to act on this new word for Tuesday, because to fully embrace it feels like a criticism of what God has already given you. It feels like saying, "This isn't enough." And so, out of a twisted sense of gratitude, you refuse the greater gift to prove you are thankful for the lesser one. This is the enemy's masterstroke, using your love for God to keep you from God's best for you. And it is this very point that must be addressed before I can release you. But before I do, and before I release you, there is one final point. I want you to close your eyes now. If you can, wherever you are, place your right hand over your heart. We are going to pray. Not a prayer of petition, but a prayer of release. And then I am going to release you, and I pray over you now, releasing you from the shame of your own weariness. I speak to the exhaustion that has settled in your bones, the fatigue you have confessed to no one, the secret tiredness you have carried like a sin. It is not a sin. It is the honorable wound of a soldier who has held the line for too long. I decree that this weariness is not your identity. It is a location you are now departing from. I release you from the anchor of comparison, from the temptation to look to your left and your right and measure your mode against another's. I will not go back. I will not retreat. I will not give up 24 hours before the turning. The enemy's greatest victory is to convince a soldier to surrender on the morning the war is won. I will not surrender this morning, and I release you now from the fear of seeming ungrateful. This is the most subtle chain, the fear that by acting on this word for this coming Tuesday, you are telling God that what He has already done is not enough. It is a lie from the pit. Your immediate obedience is your greatest act of gratitude. It is you saying, "Father, I so value what comes from your hand that I refuse to let it sit in the waiting room of my life. My obedience is my greatest hallelujah. And I release you from the spirit of disqualification. I command the voice that lists your failures, the voice that questions your worthiness, to be silent now. And in that silence I call forth the 3 names that have been sealed over you. Receive them now, not as titles, but as truths. Sentinel of the appointed time, author of the new season, ambassador of the coming year, not for you to boast, for you to remember, for you to cross what is coming with them in your mouth, in your posture, in your heart. And before the voice that comes now, I need you to hear one thing. The intensity of what you have passed through in these last months is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is the proof that you are exactly who you always knew you were, someone who carries something great enough for the enemy to want to silence it. You were not attacked by chance. You were attacked precisely where your identity intends to manifest with the greatest force. The heavier the attack, the more dangerous you are to the old cycle. The pressure you felt was not a sign of your weakness. It was a sign of your proximity to the turning. If this hits you now, right below, I receive the turning. And now, listen, there is another voice. I saw you when you were at the table, hearing laughter that sounded like a foreign language. I saw you look at your own hands, wondering if they could still build anything. I was there in the long silence of the night, when the only sound was the ticking of a clock that seemed to be moving backward. I have never lost sight of you. I have never forgotten your name. The seat at my table with your name on it was never at risk of being given away. I never closed it. I was waiting for you to be ready to see it. I have been watching you, not with the eyes of a judge, but with the eyes of a father waiting for his child to finally come home for the feast he has prepared. What you called a prison of repetition, I called a training ground. What you called the silence of my absence, I called the sacred quiet of the operating room, where I was healing a wound you did not know you had. What you called your unending Monday, I called the necessary preparation for the Tuesday I had marked on my calendar since before you were born. Your name is engraved on the palms of my hands. Your mode was written in my book before a single one of your days came to be. This waiting has not been a punishment. It has been a purification, and the fire has done its work. The time for waiting is over. The time for walking begins now. And there is a voice speaking inside of you right now, a voice that says, this is not for me. This is for someone with greater faith, for someone who is more worthy. I need you to hear this from me now. You have permission. You have permission to receive what you did not earn. You have permission to occupy the seat at the table without having to justify your presence. You have permission to let the version of you that needed to suffer, to feel worthy, die tonight. Solomon did not prepare this instrument for those who are already ready. He prepared it for those who are tired, and you are the one who is tired now. I now stretch my hand toward your house and decree a covering of sealing over all that belongs to you, over your table, so that every meal becomes an act of communion and not anxiety, and the conversations that happen there may be seasoned with wisdom from above. I declare covering over your children and your spouse, if you have them. May your obedience tonight become a mantle of protection over them. May they feel the atmosphere of your home change, the weight lift, the lightness of God's presence enter. And I decree covering over your work, over your hands, over every project and opportunity. May the alignment with your mode that you learned here unlock promotions and favor. May your immediate obedience become your greatest qualification in the eyes of men and in the eyes of God. You are committed. You are commissioned, you are sent, you are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent, you are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent. Before I release you, I want you to walk with me to a room you have not yet seen with your physical eyes. Do not force it. Just allow the image to arrive. There is a long table. A light comes from a source you cannot identify. There are people at the table, some you have loved, some you have not yet met. Their faces feel like family. And there is a chair near the head of the table, empty. The shape of you is carved into it. The wood remembers you. Solomon is at the head of the table. You are not creating this scene, you are remembering it. The chair has always been yours. It was only you who was missing. Don't say amen yet. Sit in this for a moment. Feel the weight of what just happened. Now, you may say amen. That seat at the table the Father just showed you, it is waiting. I want you to hear something before you close this video, because there's a phrase the adversary will whisper in your ear in the next 3 hours. I'll name that phrase now so you don't fall for it. But before the phrase, there is something you need to receive. What was sealed here will be tested this Tuesday. The Code of Solomon's Wisdom is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. With the ritual of the righteous sleep and the awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees, for less than a coffee with a biscuit, because a sentinel of the appointed time without covering will decay on the next Monday morning, and the adversary is counting on Monday. It is not an expense, it is an instrument, and Solomon prepared it for you to cross what is coming with a firm hand, not an empty one. With a 7-day guarantee, the risk is ours. The hand is yours. Click now while the decree is still alive in your chest, not tomorrow, not after your shower, because whoever leaves it for later, leaves it for never, and the adversary already knows this. In the next 3 hours, He will speak inside of you, not with a loud voice. In sequence, 5 short phrases. Another empty promise. Tuesday will be just like Monday. You've been disappointed before. Don't get your hopes up. Even if God speaks, you won't know how to act on it. 5 waves. He tries from 5 angles. In one of them you yield. Today, now, before this Tuesday, not after. Today, and Solomon will stand with you. And now, the last word of this video, and in the next word I bring to this channel, I will deliver to you the 3 signs that God is about to change your financial season. Whoever heard this word today needs to hear that one in sequence, because what comes next is not a continuation. It is a deepening. Click the video that will appear on your screen in a few seconds. And still in this video, chosen one, before I seal this hour with you, I return one last time to this request. You walked with me until here. You crossed every word, every decree, every sign. And if at any moment of this message you felt heaven touch you, you know this video was no accident. The voluntary donation link continues open in the first pinned comment, right below the digital book. Not as a charge, not as exchange, as the chosen ones return to the altar from which the word came forth. Any amount your heart points to, and heaven sees every gesture. Heaven sees, and heaven multiplies it over your home, over your days, over what you don't yet know is coming. That was my last request. I'll wait for you there, chosen one. And when this happens, and it will happen soon, you will remember this moment. Before you go, think of one specific person, not many. 1. The person whose name came to you just now. The person who has been silent, faithful, unseen. The person whose anointing has also been attracting attacks that have no name. Someone who has been coming home carrying a weight that is not their own. Someone who needs the same sealing you have just received. Send this video to them. They are waiting for this word to arrive. And when that person opens this video, they will need what you have just received, including the instrument Solomon left. It may be what opens their cycle too. This is not a favor you do for them. It is an act of service, and heaven sees it. Comment below, Amen received, and send this video to that specific person who came to mind. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You are not the same person who pressed play. You are deeply loved. You were never forgotten. The chair is yours, and so it is sealed. The coming Tuesday can wait another 10 seconds.